Earth. First card. Forecast Araman. Monster. When Araman enters the field, choose one forward other than multi-element. Break it. 0. Until end of turn, Araman becomes an 8k forward. You only use this ability if you control a forward of 9 or more, 9k or more, and only once per turn.
I'll be honest, I'm probably almost never switching this on, but I'm still running this card.
Yeah, I mean, not often do you get just straight removal in Mono Earth. I mean, yeah, it can't target multi-element, which can be a bit of a problem sometimes, but for the most part, this just says I'm a 4-cost, kill whatever I want.
Yeah, this says choose one forward, break it. I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm almost, as I said, I'm almost never activating it because it's going to be so rare that I'll have a 9k or higher power forward, but for what it's worth.
Where I do have like a Titan or a Shadow Lord in play, like I Titan my opponent and I just go, okay, cool, I can poke through a point of damage now.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, you're just going to be sitting there as a removal spell, which is serviceable.
This is almost like, I don't want to compare this to Robel Akbel because Robel Akbel also draws you cards, but they functionally do the same thing. It's 4-cost, kills a thing when it comes in.
Yeah, and yeah, it's break, and again, we were just discussing when we were discussing a lot of stuff isn't multi-element. So yeah, I think this is good removal. I feel Earth is just so full as it is. It's the slots that matter.
See, that's the fun part of deck building, though.
Yeah, no, exactly.
This to me is like Araman versus Robel. They're the same card. Robel wins, you don't play Araman.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll get played because it's kind of a worse version of a better card.
Well, I could see this being played over it if the deck is not a Crystal Synergy based deck.
Yeah, but you don't need Crystal Synergy. Every time I build an Earth deck, I put 3
Geomancer.
Yeah, Geomancer in and start with 3 Robel. Like that's enough crystals to warrant running.
Yeah, but I've had decks with Earth X where I've just gone, I can't do the crystal thing, so this might be a better option in that case.
I mean, like a lot of the Earth X decks you play nowadays do want to hinge on that crystal synergy just because of how powerful Robel is.
Especially now with what's her name? The S gain 30k.
Oh yeah, she's coming up soon.
Like, I mean,
we'll get to her.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing, I don't know yeah.
So you think if you're playing Earth, you have to be crystals?
No. If you're playing Earth, you need to be playing 3 Geomancer backups because Robel is worth it. This doesn't replace that.
Yeah.
Because again,
I would agree that it doesn't replace it. I would agree that it doesn't. Yeah, I would agree that it doesn't replace it, but I would still run it in tandem with Robel. I would run them both together to give you another way to kill something.
The greater scheme of Earth cards, even in Mono Earth, find the room for Araman. It's
especially since it is not a
consistency, man.
Yeah. Especially since it's not a forward, so you can't like salvage it with Kusith and Luminous Puma.
Yes,
that's the one.
There's a lot of.
I also assume we're
little
skipping this
downsides, like not multi-played, not targetable Kusith. Like there's little downsides that make it complete, and also Robel's in a different category of card because at the start of every turn it's add 2 CP to your hand. Like Robel just is so much better.
Again,
there's no comparison really.
I have no disagreement.
That's
with
not
that.
what I'm.
I'll just say they are similar effects for relatively similar cost, and I would probably find the room to fit 1 copy of Araman in, just so because Robel Earth doesn't have a way to pick up and play a card again, so. Robel, after Robel's kill the thing, and if you want to try and kill another thing, you have to wait for your Robel to die so you can play another Robel. Araman gets around that by letting you play another card to kill a thing.
Well, let's be fair. Robel's very much a must-kill card.
I'm also kind of at the point as well, personally, whenever I'm building Earth, I said it before with Ami, if I'm building a mono Earth deck, which I'm probably not, but if I ever wanted to build a mono Earth deck, because of the Tyro and Toto, Araman is not better than Typhon. I am running Typhon instead. Like,
It's a thing that you can do.
yeah, like if you really need a second Robolakbal, you can run Typhon. Not for it to become a forward, but on play, unconditional removal of a guy is like, yeah, there's. I feel like Araman's existed for a while, but it's not been good enough, and now they brought out a card that just has it written down for one extra cost. I'm like, it's
I
just
get
not that.
I get it. I'm just also thinking from the perspective of you're never always going to have that color fixing.
I think that leans back to the whole deck building thing of perhaps you're maybe not building Earth right then, because Mono Earth should be able to play other colors.
And
Yeah, I mean, you've got 9 backups now that can float for any color.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that Earth now, like Earth got a whole bunch of color fixing in the set. We'll get to those, but
just ever Tyro Toto is enough to warrant running Ami. Like that's
why I hard mull for them.
Yeah, Earth, a mono Earth deck should be 45 Earth cards, 3 Amaterasu, and 2 light and/or dark cards. Like, yeah, it's mono Earth hasn't been mono for ages. And again, if you're building mono Earth, you probably shouldn't be, because Earth something is going to be better.
Earth is the best support color for that.
Yeah, like you've got mono Earth. Oh yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, put wind into it. Okay, it's better. Put water in it. Okay, it's much better, because with Earth Water, you're like, all of a sudden crystals open up massively. So Rebel Akbal becomes incredible. Glaciella becomes incredible. This new Earth card that I keep forgetting the name of, Daisy, becomes funny. But yeah, it just opens up the realm of, yeah, like I don't think Mono Earth is a viable deck right now, because Earth splash any other color is better.
But again,
I think,
please, prove us wrong.
It's not even a splash.
Yeah.
Like with Earth, it's not even a splash. But I think my argument isn't that. My argument is I don't think all Earth X or Earth decks would be crystal oriented, and that's where this comes in. But we'll move on. I'm assuming we're skipping Delucidary Knight.
Okay, again, 5 words, all lightning card name X Death.
Yeah.
I can understand saying all card name X Death, because then this protects Neo X Death, and that's kind of stupid. But yeah, no, just please protect the man who's helping you function.
Yeah.
I will say though, 1-cost mannequin kind of potential, but I don't know. Yeah, next.
Yeah, we've got to protect Zordon. 4-cost Galoof. Forward 8k Brave. When Galoof attacks, choose one forward opponent controls. Deal it damage equal to Galoof's power. Remove 3 cards from the break zone. Remove 3 cards in the break zone from the game. Galoof gets plus 3k power until end of turn. Damage 3. Galoof gains plus 3 power and just plus 3 power. I keep saying until end of turn whenever I read that. I like Old Man.
Hey, look, it's Zell only better.
Yeah, basically.
Way better.
I feel it necessary to point out. You know how we said that Garland was like this close to viability? Garland's like infinitely better than this, because they're both just 4-cost 8Ks that kill things. And if he was, say, a 5-cost that did it on enter as well as attack, I would be so much happier with it. But as he is now, I'm not seeing it.
Well, in saying that though, this Galoof is never dying to damage-based effects. He just never is.
Yeah.
Like, you're at a point in Mono Earth where nothing you have is dying to damage effects. Trust.
Also, I think Earth is one of the worst colors to be exiling from bin, personally.
Yeah, like exiling 3 cards. Mostly, you're just exiling your things that aren't. You're exiling like your summons, because everything else you can get back. But you're not running to make that work.
I think the only saving grace for this card for me is damage 3 in Earth. There's enough deal yourself a point of damage cards that make damage 3 be a thing.
Self-ping
So,
yourself to make it.
he's a 4-cost 11k 80% of the time, maybe 70% of the time. The only other saving grace, he is a 8k forward with relevant text who is Cat 5. Water loves Earth. Sildra searches him. He's a hit the board. Hey, I'm here. I'm big. What are you gonna do? I'm every turn removal.
Also,
That's not to say it's good, but there is a deck he at least fits in
Can
pretty well.
function in, yeah.
I also think if it ever does have potential, this is a big maybe. This is me shenanigansing. Earth, Lightning, X Death, the last set one. Being able to instant speed exile stuff you couldn't exile with X Death, or play that X Death early and then Galoof starts feeding it. Maybe?
Feels like one of those cards that was designed. It feels like one of those cards that was designed after Stern of Mastery got banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to try and protect the ability to do too much with your break zone. In saying that though, this card is I feel like this card is actually quite good. There will be a home for it. Where that home is, I'm not entirely sure yet, but there will be a home for it.
There'll be a tier 2, tier 1 deck, which, as was said before, that's not to say they're not competitively viable. They're just the only difference to me with tier 0 and tier 1 decks is tier 0 decks have more of a chance to do the broken thing. It's not to say tier 1 decks don't have a broken thing. They're just 2% less likely to do the broken thing. Therefore, tier 0 is better. This falls into that, like, the Water Earth deck. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's just not quite there, but I won't expect not to see this just because it has semi-relevant text in 2 colors that are good. Like Sildra Water Earth also has Robo-Luck Bowl because crystals, because you get Glacial. Like there's a list that has this, and it's a tier 2, tier 1 list, but it's not tier 0.
Yeah. Someone somewhere will play it purely because it's a legend, I feel.
Correct me if I'm wrong. For me personally, and I might have the number a little bit off, the literal difference between the tiers in my mind is the higher ones beat the previous do 5% beat 5% more of the meta than the one before it. It is literally about the top decks
that's
better against
like
more decks.
Game specific, like we're talking like the difference between Guardians is tier 2. We all know Guardians is strong. Guardians is tier 2. It relies so much on being able to outplay your opponent and also drawing the right cards in the right order. So, as in Windwater Guardians, not Mylist or anything, just stock standard Windwater Guardians. Tier 2. Mono Wind is tier 0. Mono Wind, 9 out of 10 games, does its thing. Actually, I'd say 99 out of 100 games. Mono Wind does its thing perfectly spot on. Like you are dealing with like a 5% power, like the cap of what the deck can do. 99 times out of 100, you are doing that.
I wouldn't put
Guardians,
it that
is
high.
tier
I think
2.
it depends on the room. I wouldn't put it that high.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I guess if
I've seen it in a room. I've seen a room where 60% just counter it.
But that's because you're playing for it because it's tier 0.
Yeah.
But because it's tier 0, that's what I think to me dictates, like tier 0, tier 1, tier 2. To me, those 3 always have a chance to win an event. But tier 0 just does its broken thing more
often.
Like more often.
More efficiently.
Whereas Guardians has the entire, like the absolute capacity, same with Luso, Monofire Luso. It has the horrible ability to turn 1, draw 5, mull, draw 5, fuck, I lose.
Yeah.
Mono Wind doesn't have that. You go, okay, this is slightly less optimal, but it does the thing.
Which is
That's what
work
separates tier 0 versus tier 1, 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mono wind is, do I start winning at turn 4 or turn 6? Hopefully turn 4, but if I can survive
turn
to
2
turn
or
6...
turn 4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
turn two or
yeah,
turn
yeah.
I
four.
don't think I've ever gotten to turn 4 going, oh shit, I don't know if I've got this. If I'm playing mono wind and got to turn 4, I go, yeah.
I have gotten to turn 4. I have gotten to turn 4 where I was struggling, but I had set myself up that if they don't get this exact, turn 6 I win, and that's what happened.
Yeah. I mean, the
I
only reason I
haven't-
got
Yeah,
to
but
turn
I-
4
at
was
that
because
point,
people didn't know how to play the mirror.
Yeah, you're
Personally, I
pretty
hate
Yeah.
like dividing things so harshly into tiers like that because it's just like
Same, I'll be honest.
basically it's just
yeah.
it's completely like you're basically completely ignoring like player strength,
Yeah.
player
I
deck
think
building
it's
ability.
healthy.
It's completely ignoring like all of that just to say my deck's good, I win.
Yeah,
Like
and
it's
each
that's
and each
I
room
think-
will have
I
a
think as
completely
well-
different meta each tournament.
Yeah.
Like
I
Sydney
hope
and
so.
Melbourne.
I
Sydney
personally
and-
put them at, there's 2 ranks. There's tier 0, tier 1, and then, so tier 0 is just like, this is undoubtedly, this set currently, it's mono fire, mono wind, ice wind. They're tier 0. They are just the best decks. Like, no argument. They are just the best decks. That doesn't mean you can't outplay them and outbeat people piloting them, but just cards, like text on paper, they are just the best decks. Tier 1 is the decks I expect good pilots to beat tier 0 decks with. Anything below that, it's honestly like, yeah, I won't be mad to see it win against tier 0. Like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Like Guardians or Knights or anything can beat mono win, but my money's on mono win. Regardless of the pilot, my money's on mono win.
I'll end this on one joke before we move on. The tier list means nothing with Wollongong meta in existence.
yeah, that's very
Yeah,
true.
pretty much.
I'm just saying that.
Speaking from experience of being sort of a part of Wollongong meta, like Wollongong meta will just throw you completely for a loop.
Didn't
So
Wollongong meta have like everyone played Omega as a joke?
no, that was partially my fault.
I was gonna say, wasn't that you?
That was partially my fault. That was actually a tournament that we decided, like, a little bit of a sidetrack. I decided, like, an L6 tournament. I decided it was like, I might as well have some fun because I've already got my invite. I'm gonna play a 3-color Wolver style deck, and what's a good dark card? That's good. I haven't tried Omega yet. Let's try that. Then, so I put Omega into a deck. I actually sleeved it up. Unbeknownst to me, 2 other people sleeved up Omega as like a little bit of a joke because they were reading omega-3 fatty acid facts the night before. So they decided, I'm just going to put Omega in the deck just for a laugh. So at that particular event, 25% of the meta was like decks with Omega in it, and I ended up taking down the event with Omega in my deck. So we ended up like tried to continue that as a running joke into the next event, where we managed to convince everybody to run Omega in their lists. So,
and you want to know what would have worked pretty well on that Omega list? Couple of copies of Galuf to get us back on track.
Yep.
I'm the master of the segue. Anyway,
there we go.
Speaking of Warrior of Lights, 4-cost Kryl EX backup. EX burst. When Kryl enters the field, select one of the 2 following actions. Choose one summon your break zone, add it to your hand. Choose one category 5 forward your break zone, add it to your hand. I like it.
It's okay.
It's the same Earth backup we've had every set.
yeah, like this is just
Not as good. It's
I don't even think it being a burst saves it because like summon or cat 5 forward is pretty specific.
If it was like 3 cost 5k forward, but yeah.
Well, if it was 3 cost 5k forward, it'd be infinitely better because then you trigger it off of Elmay Faris.
Yes, exactly. The fact that its job is irrelevant, its category is almost irrelevant. I don't know. What Earth summons exist? Yeah,
I was gonna say,
Yeah, the Ridia deck exists, but even then, I would still only think about this as maybe a singleton because there's so like the backup count in that deck is so light. The biggest advantage of this card in that deck is that you could search for it with Sildra.
Let's be honest
So
as well. If you're
that's
if
what
you're
I was
playing, if
If
you're
you're
playing
playing,
Cryol, it's not this one.
yeah,
in the
there's
first-
another
if-
Cryol that
if-
just so happens to
Yeah,
work
that's
really
where I
well
in the
was
with
gonna-
summon
Summon.
yeah.
loop,
Hon-
you're playing the
honestly,
other Cryol.
honestly, I don't think so. Like, if you're playing, like, for example, like the most prevalent summon-based deck, which would be the Rydia deck, right?
Yeah.
Like, or Rydia Twins, you're not playing Kryl in that deck.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I mean. Is
But
if you are considering a Cryol, it's not
It's-
this one.
I think it is
Like-
this one.
I don't-
Well, I
It's
mean,
it's searchable off
it's
Sildra.
EX
It gets
grab
you
a
a
summon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
searchable off
that's the thing.
Sildra. It grabs you a summon back from your break zone to your hand, so you can free cast it off of the Rydia. That's the most important part. Like the
I
old,
think
like
it comes down to what category 5 forwards there are in that list.
oh, there isn't any.
yeah, there aren't.
Yeah, but whether
But-
whether you can adjust it now.
Yeah,
to suit
because
that.
like, it's my whole thing is we've gotten to a point where Rydia can now just be Water Earth, so you don't even need to run Twins.
Oh yeah, no, you don't run twins anymore.
Like, you don't
But
need
you know,
to.
Cryol. I hope Cryol will fit somewhere because art looks nice, but I won't be surprised if she doesn't. Let's move on.
Lena and Galuf are Cat 5
Yeah,
forwards.
Lena and Gala
So-
for Cat 5, and that's about it.
You know, actually, even better. Now that you can go deep water earth, you can run Neo X Def with this, and then you
Yeah.
can just get
Yeah,
your
this gets
Neo
back
X Def
Ned.
back.
Oh, yeah.
Get your Ned back, play it again.
Oh, I'm not
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Get
Yeah,
Merc
it gets back
folks.
Ned, and if you have Ned out already, it gets back the summons to protect Ned. Okay, cool. You play this in Ned next.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We found it. We found it. We found
We
it.
found
Mission
the home,
complete.
folks.
We did it.
Alrighty, so all of you Ned players, or as I will call you,
Wollongong.
buttholes, can,
All
you have-
of you Wollongong meta players.
Yeah.
yeah, you
all
can.
of you-
You have 3 full arts to hunt down. That's your mission.
Effing C's, we'll say.
I
Yeah,
think
we'll
okay,
go no
okay.
further.
I will say this, but obviously I'm not going to pressure. I think I've used that word and it's allowed on Twitch, but
Don't risk it. I don't want
Yeah,
it.
nah. We're Aussies, it's fine, but yeah, nah. America,
Well,
Twitch, nah.
well, it's also, you know, I'm allowed to risk my shit. You guys probably don't want to risk
Oh,
my
yeah, no,
things.
no,
The
I
fra-
will.
But
I
I've
will
used it.
reserve that word.
Let us.
I could
Move
say
on.
what it rhymes with.
Keiichi. Speaking of the
Huh?
C word,
And
forecast
King's
Keiichi. Back up.
11.
When Keiichi 11 enters the field, choose one forward in your break zone, add it to your hand. Damage 3. If Keiichi 11 is on the field, Keiichi can produce CP of any element.
She.
Okay, she.
That's
Keiichi.
technically the Japanese pronunciation. This
No,
card
it's
is
well,
bad.
Gaelic.
Translate
Gaelic.
it.
It's the Gaelic pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's the original language pronunciation.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I read a
Keiichi.
lot of Gaelic folklore, so I tend to lean back towards the original as someone else is mispronouncing. Yeah, Kate Sith, Sith or SHE or SEE is pronounced she in Gaelic. It basically means fairy.
Yeah, cat fairy. That's
Yeah.
what-
Huh.
So I do
But, yeah.
apologize with that mix-up.
Yeah, no.
Kuchai's the same thing. Like,
Keiichi. Let's
yeah,
Let's talk about the card.
Yeah.
Card is good.
card is good. Card is fantastic. I love it. 2-cost rainbow.
Cut.
picks up a forward when it comes into play. Damage 3 turns into any element. Not a bad card.
Damage 3 turns into Abraham. We already have this in Tyro. It's not better than Tyro. Earth backup's pretty full. I'd be surprised to see it, but I think for the first 3 weeks of this meta, yes, anyone playing Earth will play it, but
But it'll be
at
that
a
card.
point
you can't-
where Tyro, Toto, plus one other backup, this isn't, plus one other Earth backup, this isn't the other Earth backup.
I'll be
honestly.
honest, I actually do quite like this card purely because it's an even costed card. Like, I got Tyro and Shintoto, they're both odd costed, so this one, I'm happier to play this backup as a turn 1 backup than I am playing Tyro as a turn 1 backup.
Hmm.
Like, I play this into Tyro.
Yeah, that's what I'm loving about
Yeah,
this.
but it
I'm also in that
You're
like
not
avalanche
playing
crowd.
Tyro.
Of,
If you're playing Tyro turn 1, something's gone drastically wrong.
well, you're playing avalanche.
And something's gone drastically wrong. 'cause it's-
No. You just play Tyro turn
You're
1. You
fine,
don't even
yeah.
care.
Yeah, I think Avalanche doesn't care because you just get the card back with the Barrett you searched up.
Yeah, like
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't think this is backup number 3 because, like as I was saying before, if you're playing Earth, what's his name? Robo-Lakbal warrants you running 3 of the generate crystal backup. Like, this isn't better than Oracle Robo-Lakbal. So I don't think you play this over much. If you're playing Mono Earth with summons of every element splashed in, so if you want to play a Mono Earth list, I'd run 3 Tyro, 3 Toto, 3 Kate Sith, maybe something else, just to play like Leviathan and Amaterasu. Sure. But you also have to remember, while it's a 4 cost, add a card to your hand, yeah, sure. So it's a 2 cost backup. But at damage 3, it becomes Moogle Brothers, I think, Moogle Brothers? From like
Moogle FFCC.
Yeah, Moogle FFCC from like Opus 8, where it's, Job Moogles generate any CP. He is a Job Moogle, he generates any CP. It's
difference, I would say, is something like Avalanche. I think something like Avalanche would prefer getting a Barret back versus Crystal they never use. There are Earth X decks that just don't go near crystals.
But Avalanche aren't running backups like this.
They're
running Search for Barrel Eye, that is it. Yeah, if you have to start rezzing Barrel Eyes because... sorry, not Barrel Eye. Barrett. Yeah. If you have to start rezzing Barretts because you've run out of them, you should have already won by then. Like, unless you draw all 3 Barret in turn 1, like, you're not playing Avalanche properly, really. I think.
I don't know. I'm glad to be wrong, but I feel this. I'm glad to be wrong, but I feel this might find its way somewhere. Personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who runs Billy Bob?
Me.
Everyone.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait,
you're playing Earth. You have Tyro Toto in
you have Tyro. You have
Avalanche,
Toto. And he's the right job, so you res him with Cloud.
Wait, hold on. Which one's Billy Bob? I think I'm mixing up my
multi-element.
Yeah, lightning up. We will get to him.
Yeah. Sorry. I got the wrong one. I was thinking,
Let us move on. Okay, she is.
Kolka! FFCC Backup King. When Kolka enters the field, you may discard 1 forward. When you do so, choose 1 forward. Deal it damage equal to the discarded forward's power.
Not better than the other Kolka.
Not better than the other one.
And you know what? This is the one instance where I'm proud. Because if this were... Like, let's say this was a Hugh Yerg. This would be like a one-of in every single Earth deck.
Forcing people to make the choice.
Me, it would.
Yeah.
Like, you have a meaningful choice to make, and I love that.
No, because I was going to say, I don't think this just gets cut for the other one. I like the other one more. I think it is a better one. Don't get me wrong. But
actually, I don't think even if it was a different name, it would have the same thing. Because while it's a slight thing, if this card was good and seen play, its effect is you may discard 1 forward, which then procs all of the ice cards that say when your opponent discards 1 or more cards.
Most of them say to your ability. Most of those say to your ability.
That's your summons or abilities.
Yeah.
That's specifically to like the ice players' summons or abilities. This is discarding to your own effect.
Yeah, it won't trigger a lot of them.
Cool. Yeah, alright, cool.
Yeah.
So basically what you're doing is you're paying 4 CP to kill a thing on a backup, which is actually incredibly easy to search. Like, there's 2 different 4-cost searches for Kolka. I like it. It's not a bad card. Like, the fact, and as Squash Piece mentioned, the fact that it forces you to choose between one good Kolka or another good Kolka, it's another deck building challenge, and it makes things interesting.
Well, and here's the thing I was...
unless you're playing Avalanche, at which point you just never consider it.
Yeah. I feel like it's you choose between 1 good Kolka or 1 better Kolka. I think the other one
I'll give that.
Just better 90% of the time.
But here's something I will put in as a little bit of a option. If you're able to search this thing consistently, which you can in most of the decks, running like a mix of the 2, so you grab the one you want, I don't see that as a bad option of not going, I'll maybe run 2 of the other one of this one, 2 of the better one of this one. If I need this one, I can get it. If I don't need this one, I'll grab the other one, and then these become discard fodder.
There's an EX burst tutor for it. It's funny.
Yeah.
Discard fodder isn't really an argument
Virus.
anymore because with only 50 cards in your deck with the
You need to
card
make-
pool,
Yeah, I know, but I'm
cards
saying that's
can't
still...
exist as another option. They need to be the option.
Yeah,
so
but I'm
I
saying...
feel like
But if you would normally run 3 of the other one, swapping one of those for this one for the option when you tutor... Because the other one becomes a discard fodder when you play the second or first one.
yeah, I mean,
So you're replacing
yeah,
a
but
slot for a
you'd
slot.
rather. Yeah, but this isn't a turn one backup though, because it's
Blue Bez says otherwise, in my opinion.
So,
like, yeah, it's a 2-cost backup, but it's not like it's a 2-cost backup
For
vanilla,
late game, yeah.
like-
2 cost
like,
backups for late games
absolutely-
are notoriously bad,
no.
yeah.
but this is never a 2-cost backup. It is a 2-cost vanilla backup that does absolutely nothing at all in the game whatsoever, which is bad. Or it is a 2-cost backup that makes you discard a card, therefore a 4-cost backup that deals damage to something, which a lot of cards prevent now. So, it's still a relevant effect, but it's a 4-cost backup that does something pretty relevant versus a 4-cost backup that generates a card. So the other Kolka is always a 2-cost Earth backup that generates a card. Like, it's
No,
I think it's this Kolka's good. The other one so far, I'm just gonna say, is purely better.
Oh, I'm
think
not disagreeing with that on any level. I'm just saying a 2-1 in a tutor might work.
I mean,
Mm,
if we want to talk about
the thing
comparison,
is, you got access. Yeah, you got access to tutors, so like, you could run that. You could theoretically run the split. Like if you're on the back foot and you need to get rid of something, then you can like use this Kolka to get rid of it. Like especially if you've already got a board state and you need to search for something. If you're playing early game, then obviously the 4-cost Kolka is way better.
100%. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm not disagreeing with
Yeah.
anything you guys are saying.
Oh, I'm just saying like you could potentially run the split. Like I'm agreeing with the option of there being a split. As I mentioned, there's 2 4-cost backups that search for this backup. So, it's the option is available to you should you choose to do it. And I'm not one to ignore options.
What
Yeah.
are you saying, Squash
there's an argument for it, but yeah.
I feel like this can be compared to like Railbarn. They're both 4-cost backups that punch something.
Railbarn forces you to
Railbarn's
have
an-
the forward play already.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rarebarn's
I was
also
gonna
an
say.
EX.
yeah, Railbarn being a bit, but like if you want to make a comparison, that is one you can make.
If anything, I'll probably try and compare this to the Opus 1 4-cost Seymour or something along those lines. 4 CP killer thing. You're doing something similar with Kolka, except Kolka's searchable.
Yeah, but
That's my comparison
Seymour
point.
hasn't been.
Anyway,
Yeah, no, like I said, I feel
Yeah.
this is more semantics than anything. Anyway, 3-cost Seraphy. This is one of my favorite cards of the set. Forward 5k. When Seraphy enters the field, you may search for one card named Tama and add it to your hand. When a forward of cost 2 or less enters the field, place 1 gem counter on Seraphy. Remove 2 gem counters from Seraphy, draw 1 card. You can only use this ability during your turn and only once per turn. I know it's bad, but I want to make this card work so much.
I've got a real funny idea for this one, actually. And I know
God.
it's not going to be competitive. So, you run it in Golbez. You run the Opus 1 backup Tama, and then you Tama in your deleter to break your Golbez.
Yeah, that's where I was seeing this card go, stuff like that, and I kind of love it for that reason. Also, Tama's there saying hi in the art.
well, yeah.
But yeah, I assume there's not much to say about this one. It's shenanigans. Is there
It's
a
like-
William Tell card in FF?
Well, I mean, yeah, she is probably right there saying Jinx.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we just move on from this one. Even though it's just my favorite. And here's the opposite end of that spectrum. Tama. Waff forward 3k. Tama cannot attack or block. Tama cannot be chosen by opponent's summons or abilities. When a forward you control is chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities, you may put Tama into the break zone. When you do so, cancel its abilities. So it's just a weaker Y'shtola.
Couldn't this be a 1-cost?
Yeah.
Couldn't this be a 1-cost monster?
Yeah, that's
No,
It
I know
is.
the reason
It
why
is.
it's 2 costs is so it synergizes with the Seraphim.
It'd synergize with Seraphy if it was a 1-cost too.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
would
2
too.
or less.
Seraphim is
Yeah,
2
she's
or less. Yeah. It would have worked either
But if
way.
it's a monster, it also synergizes with other cards. Like this just is... This only synergizes with Seraphy, but Seraphy's not worth playing, so this isn't. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Something
We
I
can
want
move on.
something I want to say about this the cannot attack or block. I feel like the fat chocobo. It feels like they're trying to create something between forwards and monsters, but ending up stuck in limbo. It feels like they want this to be able
ending up stuck in unplayable cards because
Oh,
they aren't one or the other.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's
Speaking of playable, 3-cost Daisy. Forward 7k. For forward you control other than Daisy's dealt damage, the damage is dealt to Daisy instead. Damage 3, Daisy gets plus 3k power. Special, Daisy gets plus 3k power until end of turn.
Plus
That's
30k.
Yeah, that's plus 30k, thank you.
30k, sorry.
Yeah, so it's plus 30k. Look, 30k is a lot. Like,
Yeah.
Glaciella memes notwithstanding, like, pay a crystal, give plus 30k, Sarah Mobius, eat your heart out. Like, you're in Earth, just Kusith, Luminous Puma, just get a bunch of daisies back and say, no, you're never killing this by now.
Is this the only Daisy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Glaciella exists, so that makes it worth rereading.
Yeah.
Engelbert exists.
Gain 2 crystals.
Yeah,
Make it
gain
so
2
that-
crystals and pay 1 crystal, choose a forward. It doesn't receive damage less than its power this turn. So
That's actually doesn't receive damage from abilities,
Abilities
so
only, but
it's
yeah.
even better than less than
Yeah.
power. I
So-
actually quite like this Daisy because it is an absolute damage. Like it's a damage magnet, and it almost never dies to damage. So
Also,
Yeah,
Fire's
it-
never getting through this.
but its downside is what happens that one time your opponent says, look, your opponent plays Royal Akbar, break Daisy.
It's like, oh, alright.
You just okay.
Yeah.
So there's an
That's-
argument to be had with the FFBE thing. You can be like, here's this guy that just doesn't die to damage.
Actually,
But-
quick question.
Soiree says Hushmal means Daisy can't die.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird things you can
Also,
do.
also I want to say this works a lot like what's it called? The Cecil Edge, where if you have
Yeah, the
Cecil out and
Pay
gets-
2, then pay another.
pay
2.
another 2, so you can do shenanigans like this. And as we established, Earth is every color in existence as well.
But I got a question. If you're a damage 3, you control Daisy 4 other forwards. Your opponent plays Sasanowo, and you have like a Minwu out. What happens?
Sorry, say again.
If you're a damage 3, you control Daisy, 4 other forwards, and a Minwu, and your opponent plays Sasanowo. What happens?
Deal 9,000 all.
Yeah, deal 9,000 to all forwards. Daisy would take all damage the forwards would take instead.
Yes.
With Memo out.
Would Daisy die?
There's no.
Okay, so it's
No,
5
because she
separate
takes
packages.
9k
Yeah,
five
it's 5.
times.
Yeah, it's 5 separate stacks. Yes, if that's
Yeah.
the question.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So you can do that.
Yeah. This is a good card.
Yeah.
It's good because it has a very high ceiling, but it's also
are you feeling like its floor's too low?
it otherwise is a 3-cost 7k that does absolutely nothing ever.
Yeah, but if
So it's like-
my opponent's throwing Robel Akbel at this, then
I was gonna say,
don't I
probably-
basically
if-
just win that?
if they're using spot removal on this, it's doing its job of being a lure, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's all
it's
she
a
does.
magnet.
Yeah, a magnet. I call them lures, but yeah. So technically, it's still done its job. Or at least that's
Yeah,
how
I
I
just
feel.
like that she's like. I just
She's-
really like
she's
that she's
not
a sleeper
acting-
magnet. Anti.
She's not she really only cancels samurais and Susanos and the like.
Which
Yeah,
I think
She's
is
not
relevant.
she's not a removal magnet because your opponent is never going to cast. Like if your opponent's playing a deck that breaks forwards outright,
then yeah, she's kind of
They're not choosing this over Glaciella. Like, they're just like, okay, you can have your cute thing, but I don't care.
Okay, yeah. In
Wait,
that case,
so
like,
so you mean like lightning cards?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, doesn't get played. So
Exactly.
Unless you're me, brother.
yeah, fair. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see her being played. Like I've built a deck with her because I read her and I went, haha, Glaciella, cool.
yeah,
But it's literally just Mimru, Glaciella, Daisy, and Engelbert just stand there and be like, come on, deal damage, I dare you. Like,
Yeah.
and then you can make an argument because you're in water and earth, I guess, if you really want. Like, I play Auron.
Yeah, play Auron,
Like,
make it so that
So it's
he's
you
the
just
one
have
who's targeted.
everything doesn't receive damage, and then Auron's there going, you have to cast 2 kill spells to kill Daisy. So
No, it's like if you're at a point where it's like, oh yeah, you target Auron, the damage is dealt to Daisy anyway. She doesn't take damage. Auron's still
yeah, but all the choose our forward break it effects must
yeah,
target Auron.
you have to
Yeah.
target the Auron
Daisy's
first,
like,
and then
okay.
wait. Does
between-
that mean that like we bring the Opus 1 Cecil back? You got to target him too.
I mean,
Why not?
Yeah.
yeah.
So wind, I think wind, water, wind, earth, and water, earth. With this, there is a few good shenanigans, and I think, in my opinion, they affect enough of those strong decks, or enough of them that exist, to be relevant.
Now I'll start running Opus 1 Titan again beside this Daisy. Screw your break effects.
Yeah. And also, Wind Earth with this, yeah, she's searchable by Mog FFBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us move on to the next
Yes.
7K.
Tilaka.
We'll see if it's actually relevant, but yeah.
Tilaka, EX Burst, 3 cost, 7k forward. EX Burst, Tilaka, enters field, get a crystal. Wind Dull, gain a crystal.
Yeah.
Holy
Temporary
crap!
issues.
It's crystal support in the set.
The one
only
crystal card.
The only crystal card that
Sh-
does
sh-
stuff.
Charlotta is T-posing over this card.
Yeah, pretty much. If this were 2 cost 6k, I'd give it another look, but other than that, yeah, nah. Next.
Yeah.
I'm
two
not
unfortunate
sure.
things. It's a card named Tilika and also forward. No.
Which both of those things are relevant. I agree. However, the ability to just tap and gain a crystal. Like,
we have
infinitely,
Charlotta forward as a win card
We
that
have
is
Charlotta.
discard and crystal, and people don't play that in crystal decks. Tilika is not.
No, I
would still
Nah.
consider this as a singleton in that deck, but that's just me.
Nah. I'm struggling
It's
to
not
find.
I'm also the person that runs Gao in crystal decks because he generates a crystal.
Well, yeah, you
Gal
run
can be
down crystal decks
resurrected.
anyway because you can res him with the Lena.
Yeah, like there's an engine that
I
makes that
mean-
card good, and he becomes yeah.
And like, I would have considered this if Glaciella didn't exist.
Yeah, fair.
Or the other
I
water
don't know,
one,
I
that,
just-
or
I
the
just
other
feel
water
like-
one that bounces and makes a crystal.
Realm, no,
Crystal-
Realms for
Crystal
another
decks
thing.
to me have always ever been like, as soon as Soul got printed, I went, okay, crystal is water fire. Like, yeah, other
pretty
ones
much.
do things, but water fire is the crystal deck. Like, that is
Yeah,
it, because
you
the
had
deck
Mox
is
in.
fair, and then if you get 6 crystals, well, if you get crystals, you win. Like, it's every other color is this is a deck that needs crystals. Fire water is this is a deck that plays well, but if you get crystals and can use them, you win. So it's
It is what it
If
is.
if
Look,
this was in
well-
water fire, maybe actually I will say that.
If it was in water, no, you wouldn't consider it. If it was in fire, no, you wouldn't consider it.
yeah, if
Okay.
it's in water, you're like, okay, it's a worse version of is it
Glaciella.
Gao? Yeah, the 2 cost
Gao.
play
Yeah,
game.
Gao.
Yeah.
It's a worse version of Gao, and in fire, it's a worse version of Soul.
I didn't
Like,
say you
it's-
would win. I
yeah.
said only then would it be on my consider list.
Oh, yeah.
I'm meaning that very, very stretch. I am admitting that.
Anyway,
Like, yeah.
let's move on to our third 3 cost in a row.
3 cost Neo, Avalanche Operative Backup. Choose one forward. It gains Brave until end of turn. Choose one Dull. Choose one forward. Gains Brave until end of turn. You may only use this ability during your main phase. Pay 1 Dull. Choose one forward you control. Name 1 job. It gains that named job for the end of the till the end of the turn. Bart's
You
becomes
can
a
roll
waifu.
this.
Relevant.
It's an Avalanche operative Earth
Yeah.
backup. I
You
think
run
that's
this
the
as
most
a-
relevant part
It-
about the card.
It meant that Avalanche still exists this set. That's it.
I will say.
You run it as a one-off in Avalanche purely because it says, cool, I am the right job.
I will say one
Mhm.
thing. There has been so many times that I've seen Avalanche go Cloud, but Cloud, kill, get something back, or another Cloud. Wait, Cloud isn't an Avalanche operative? Hold on a moment.
Now he is.
Now he is. That
That
I
is
think.
basically the only use case. Well, no. The use case for this is like you don't even do that. You just tap give Barret Brave.
That's also the other one. Or I think if any deck ever does become a job-based shenanigans, with Earth being this color's backup, this might work in that regard, I think.
I also feel like if you're playing Avalanche, I mean, properly, like, you're never getting two or three, like, more than two or three backups out anyway. So, like, this card isn't doing its thing, like, isn't using its effects. You're tapping it for 1 CP to play Wedge,
Jesse Biggs or Wedge.
Jesse or Biggs. Like, this card's never doing its thing, and when it is, you're already winning. So.
Yeah. I would have considered more of it, but we got another Earth Avalanche operative back up
Yeah.
instead, so she
Which
has been
is-
relegated to a one.
We'll get to him.
Which is why I was
Yeah.
saying. Which is why I was saying that maybe the name job synergy side of the deck of this card might be better outside of Avalanche. Something that uses that shenanigans with maybe Barts. Like the deck doesn't exist, but it could, if that makes sense.
Even
Yeah,
then,
I don't know. You've got the first effect in Momody already, so and people aren't playing that. So like,
and Mobility costs you 0. You don't even need
yeah,
to tap 'em.
exactly. Yeah, you've got a
No,
better
I'm not
version
talking
of
about the
this
Brave.
card.
I'm talking about changing the name job.
Yeah, no. But at that point, like any card that cares about a job has in its text pretty much it becomes said name, job, or element. Like
Yeah.
the only card that this helps flat out, like this the choosing a job, it's awesome, is makes Madame Adele Soiree.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's the kind of situations I was talking about.
But Hushmal does it cheaper and better, and Nao is an Avalanche backup, not a
You're using
Soiree
her for what
You're
she
not,
is,
which-
you're
not
not
for what she
making
does.
space in your
Yeah.
back line, which is
Yeah.
already tight enough in Soiree for this card.
And that was
Yeah.
the downside I was going to say. You're losing the job that you need for the job that you need, and it's yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
Speaking of Hushmal, 1-cost Hushmal summon. If you cast Hushmal, you may remove 10, so this is part of the 10 remove of the same color cycle. Choose one forward you control, it gains plus 7k power until end of turn. If you pay the extra cost, all the forwards you control get plus 7k power until end of turn.
I love this card.
But would you run this over the Titan that also does 9k?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Pretty
Yeah,
well.
look, it's a one cost. I don't.
So
I don't know,
here's my thought perspective on it. Rydia is running like a copy of Titan already. But Rydia needs another thing to like another character to have been put into play to be able to free cast the Titan. This you can free cast, like Rydia can free cast this straight away, gets you a 7k buff instead of just a 5k. There's
Just a-
potential. There's probably enough Earth cards that you could potentially get the full AoE buff as well. 7k buff for 1 CP is so incredibly relevant. But I know we're going back in time a bit, but Opus 1 Golem saw play during its time because when it was blocking, it's a 4k buff. Everybody was like, "Whoa, it's a 4k buff! That's amazing!" Hushmal is a 7k buff for 1 CP. That's huge.
But the Titan is a 5k buff to everything without an extra cost.
Yeah. So the problem I have with this card, like it's a decent card, but the problem I have with it is the deck it really wants to go in is the Rydia deck. Rydia wants to cast other things. The saving grace is it's a 1 cost, so it actually doesn't cost anything, but using Rydia to cast this is kind of a waste of Rydia, but also at the same time, it's kind of a waste of a spell slot in your deck. Like
Also, sorry, go on. I'll say after.
yeah, it's a fine card. I don't expect not to see it, but I just think it's we've had this card in. There was a Titan, I think, that was buff board by X amount. There's the current
There
Titan.
is the crystal Titan is
Yeah.
I think
there's
it's either
this Hushmal.
3 or 1 of the crystal.
Yeah, there's another Titan. There's another card that's like select one of the 3 following, and one of them's buff your board by 3k. Like we've had this effect 1,000 times. 7k is maybe the deciding factor of that's relevant enough, because Titan being buff board by 5k was the deciding factor of being relevant enough. But again, I feel like in most circumstances, you would rather cast other summons.
Also,
it's saying that
yeah.
though, I would probably swap if I was running a Man in Black list, I would probably swap out the Titan for this Hushmal.
Man in Black, yes, I will agree with that. But for Rydia, something I want to say about Rydia is the Titan is better because even though, yes, you need to play something else to put her onto the 4 counters, that Rydia should always be on 4 counters because the 3 cards you're wanting to cast off it are all the 3 costs, like Ami or Mist Dragon or the... Yeah. So it should be on 4 at least because that's the number line for the main summons you want to cast off her. So the difference between 1 and 3 doesn't matter in that situation.
Yeah, I also just like the because this also has the secret text box of 1 CP, choose 1 fire summon, cancel its effect.
Yeah.
I mean, really, being able to prevent fire shenanigans and winning combats is one thing, but there's one thing I do want to say about this card. It just looks like Potemkin from Guilty Gear, and that's really going to mess with me.
Yeah.
And we'll end on that.
Wait, hang on. Who said cancel a fire summon?
Yeah.
So you want to cancel Amis, right?
Yeah, bro. Obviously.
Yeah, Rydia has.
We don't do that.
Rydia
Yeah,
has
she already doesn't take damage, but it's more so that she can win combats as well.
Amis. Yeah.
I'm not just talking about Amaterasu. There's more fire summons than Amaterasu.
You're talking about
I
Buffy.
know this is a shocking concept. I know this is a shocking concept to understand, but there are in fact other summons in fire that are not Amaterasu.
I can feel Ifrit lifting his head up. Ifrit and Bahamut are lifting their heads up and turning to you.
Yeah, Bahamut would like to know your location. All right, let's move on.
Geomancer, part of the cycle. We'll just move on from that. Polk, 3 cost, backup, Avalanche Operative. When Polk enters the field, choose 1 job Avalanche Operative in your break zone, add it to your hand. 1 generic dull, put Polk into the break zone, choose 1 forward against 2k power until end of turn.
This is the Avalanche Operative that you run in Avalanche now.
Yeah. Did not need it, got it anyway.
Yeah. It just makes Avalanche do more Avalanche things. I don't think it buffs Avalanche, but I think it keeps Avalanche.
I feel like it actually does.
But it doesn't buff them up to mono fire or mono winds level. All it does is say, hey, Avalanche is still a thing when deck building. So you still have to account for them, but Avalanche
you're now running like
it
12 barracks.
Yeah, like this adds an additional level of consistency that it never really had before.
Yeah.
Plus, like what you can do as well is you can actually now play like an early game Cloud and bring this back if you're desperate.
I do also want to say something else. Being a pseudo 1 cost versus being a 4 cost that does the return effect is such an important thing in Avalanche, because instead of tapping 2 backups to play something, get something back, this one is discard, tap 1, play it, get something back, then tap that 1 to play Wedge, Biggs, or Jesse.
And again,
but Avalanche is all for like the 3 important forwards are 1 cost anyway. So
so the odd number I think is really uneven. Important.
Well, it's not really, because you end up like if you have a Earth backup out, you're using it to play Jesse Wedge or Biggs.
Yeah, but if they're in your bin, you discard something else, play this to get it back, tap 1, play the 1 you got back.
Again, though, if you've run out of them, Avalanche is probably losing that game anyway.
Oh, you can run out of... You tend to run out of 1 out of the 3 most times, I feel.
But I'll also point out, like, this. We're talking about Avalanche, a deck with like 2/0 costs, 5/1 costs, and 4 cost.
I'm not saying it's bad. Like, absolutely, if you're playing Avalanche, you are running this card. 100%, you are playing this card.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that what it has written on it is not relevant. The thing that is relevant is it is a Avalanche operative backup
In the correct element.
in the correct element, and it has relevant text on it if need be, but it doesn't make Avalanche that next step better. It just keeps them relevant.
Yes. And sometimes
Like,
that's all you need.
It updates
Yes.
them to the current level.
Yes. Well, what happened when Avalanche came out? Avalanche never got nerfed. It never got worse than what it was. But there was an entire set that Avalanche wasn't played because people simply forgot about it. And then they printed the fire back up, and everyone went, "Oh, Avalanche is good again." And we're like, "No.
No.
Avalanche
Avalanche
was
was
always
always
good. No one just no one played it. This
Is it-
reminds people Avalanche is good."
Yeah,
That's because everybody was on the
legit.
soiree train, let's be fair.
Yes. Soiree was like Avalanche 2.0, but personally, I don't think much or at all better.
It was
But-
more consistent and easier to pilot, I think.
Well, it was easier to pilot when
easier
you
to
saw
pilot,
Shinju.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But I
Anyway.
digress. Hulk's a good card. You run 3 in Avalanche next.
Beastmaster, 3 costs 7k forward. Dull, choose one forward. It cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn.
This is neither
Let's move on.
this is neither a beast nor is it a master. Next.
I don't know. I could see a potential in something like this.
Flandit didn't see play. This won't either. Next.
Yeah. 5 costs, Yumcax. Forward 9k, Warp 3, Generic and Earth. If Yumcax is dealt damage, reduce the damage by 2k instead. Damage 3, Yumcax gains Brave, and when Yumcax is put from field into the break zone, draw a card.
I had the most fun with this card in Limited.
Limited, yes. Oh, limited 100%.
Yeah, limited.
But
Other than
I
that-
do not see a home for this in Constructed. It is absolute manure.
Why does this have warp?
Yeah. If I was
It
going to
is
say,
the
if it
mushroom
has
from
warp, it
nowhere.
should be warp 1.
Worthy.
It should be warp
And
1,
be
0.
Otherwise, a 3 cost 8k. Like
Yeah.
it has nothing relevant.
Because I was gonna say playing the 2 cost Aerith does what this does, but better. I rather pump my field by 2 costs than give an irrelevant forward -2.
It is Cat 11.
No.
Moving on, moving
That's
on,
not a
Let's-
saving
moving
throw.
on.
Let's- We've already got good enough Cat 11 cards. We don't need Yumcax.
We don't need a bad one. We got good ones. 3 cost Riku. Forward 7k. The Earth backups you control can produce CP of any element. When you cast multi-element forwards, choose one Earth forward other than card name Riku in your break zone. Add it to your hand. This effect will trigger only once per turn.
Now I've seen a hilariously memey deck going around where it's a mono Earth deck, but every single forward except for Riku is a multi-element forward,
Yep.
and I think that's just amazing.
I
And I
feel.
want that to work, and I want people to have fun with it, and I want people to enjoy it.
Okay,
and I
that's.
don't.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Go on. Finish it off.
And I want people to like have a blast with these cards, and I want people to take it to tournaments and beat up on people because it's funny. But I don't expect it to be like the be all end all of major tournament play. I just want people to have an absolute blast with this card and just go, ha 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 ha! Oh, look at all my multi element things.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have a
See
blast
what
with
it
this
do.
card.
Does
Yeah.
this have
It's a
the,
card with fun text, but it's not game breaking.
does this
Yeah,
have the
that's what
potential for a storm engine though?
No.
No.
What this
No.
has potential in is Avalanche.
Yeah.
What this
Yeah.
has potential in is Bash and Axter shenanigans with White Tiger. Like
Yeah,
it's
Bash, Axstar, White Tiger, you
Yeah.
can cast them
like,
all
you just
naturally.
yeah.
I was gonna say the Axstar deck I think likes this more than
The
anything.
Axter 3 cost deck loves
Yeah,
this.
'cause this also
Bash
just happens to be
searches
every-
for White Tiger. Axter plays White Tiger. Like
It dolphers everything.
Bash searches Riku. Like it's a lot of. They're all 3 cost. Like it's a fun. Like yeah, this is what they wanted Axter to be a part of. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah, but
And, like,
It's absolute comedy.
yeah, it's not broken. It's just
Yeah.
fun. They throw a heap of 3 costs. Your opponent plays Shinryu, and you lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But no,
Well,
you're
that's
you're
what
playing
I'll
an-
say
And the
today.
trigger.
That's what I'll
you're
say
playing
today.
an Avalanche just because you have 4 good multi.
No. We've got the answer already. We went past it. It's Daisy. Daisy will take all the 10Ks.
Yeah.
bro.
But yeah,
Problem solved.
I'll say that. I was saying that actually this morning at my locals. I was like, "Oh, Axstar's amazing!" Like Shinryu. People
yeah.
forget Shinryu. But that is the last card in Earth. Moving on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Earth remains Earth things,
Earth
Earth just
remains
continues to
the
do
best
Earth
support color.
Yep.
Yes.
and it will never
If
be
you want to
anything
play
else.
more than 2 colors, you're playing Earth.
pretty much.
Earth is third color.